I'll plagiarize Dorothy Parker. In The Boys in the Band, Jim Parsons runs the gamut of emotions from A to B. Jim Parsons' character Michael is an alcoholic writer. Let's just say I have experience in the area. But most alcoholics possess an ability to start out very light and can be a laugh riot before they go very dark, sometime in a split second. They transform from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde, and once Mr. Hyde appears, there's no going back till the blackout. Just bitterness and anger. Parsons starts at Hyde and ends at Hyde. In the very first scene, he's already prickly and annoying. There's nowhere to go from here. There's no arc to his character, just a collection of scenes where he becomes angrier and angrier. His Michael, only and always, comes across as bitter and self-loathing. I can't remember one moment of joy. But fear not, Mr. Parsons, Zachary Quinto goes one worse. I still don't know what to make of his performance. I believe he based his performance on the original actor in the 1970 film version, a Southern Belle and a peacock. The laugh, not a good choice. I'm not sure Zachary Quinto has ever been or ever seen anyone stoned before. He behaves like he's on K, saying every word as grandly and dreamily as possibly can, until he twists the logic out of every sentence. He's not human. I haven't seen a performance this inhuman since Meryl Streep played Julia Childs. Yes, The Boys in the Band was an amazing revolutionary play for its time, but time has not been kind. Back in the late 60s, the critic Stanley Kaufman challenged gay playwrights to ditch all the hinting around and to honestly and openly depict the lives of homosexuals in their work. Mark Crawley's The Boys in the Band debuted off-Broadway in 1968. It's iconic for its time and deserves its stature as the first play that placed a gay man at the center of the stage and at the center of our own stories. I had not read the play in its entirety before seeing the movie or since, but when I was in my 20s, I remember renting the 1970 version and being sort of appalled. But maybe I got it wrong, I thought, or William Friedkin did, so here I am. What did I expect from The Boys in the Band? Based on the cast from the trailer? In a sentence, I expected to be uplifted and inspired. They even made a companion documentary to the film called The Boys in the Band, Something Personal, which talks about celebrating the play's legacy. A celebration sounds happy, right? So I thought, sweet. It's set in 68, pre-HIV. I expected to laugh, get aroused, cry, not in that order, and ultimately fall in love with these men. These men are on the cusp of the sexual revolution and Stonewall. They are all attractive. Furthermore, I've never lived in a world where HIV did not exist as a threat to my life. Well now, HIV has been around since I was 13, so I thought and I hoped and prayed that since The Boys in the Band was set in 68, pre-HIV, there would be some free love and happiness among all these men before death arrives. Spoiler alert, there is no free love and happiness among these men. This is not a happy or joyous, celebratory film by any stretch of the imagination. This play and film, largely about a group of gay white men suffering from internalized homophobia, and they do not recover hope here. The people of color, Robin Day Seuss and Michael Benjamin Washington, provide the only nuanced, hopeful depictions of gay men in this film, as well as the cowboy, the hustler, played by Charlie Carver, who is described as none too bright. Yet the hustler is a hell of a lot happier than everyone else at this party. There is no clear difference between being clever and just being desperate and nasty. I've served both those dishes. Watching Jim Parsons be a dick to these guys for 2 hours was unnerving, without any shade of wit, and very ugly. Like watching Andrew Reynolds and Matt Bomer hook up. It's not match. The story: 6 gay men gather for a birthday party to get drunk, play a truth game where a bunch of nasty things are said that can't be unsaid. I've been to one of those birthday parties, and I've been the host of one. But I'm not going to make a movie about that. I guess you could say my problem with this movie is that it has no catharsis. It ends where it begins, with Michael's internalized homophobia, hopelessness, and self-loathing. Then we have Donald, played by Matt Bomer. He just appears to be hanging out on the sidelines as a symbol of lust. As Michael's planning the party, his old college roommate, Alan, calls and needs to visit because he's in distress. of which we are meant to believe is his hidden homosexuality, but his storyline goes absolutely nowhere. It's that, why bring up the subject if you're not going to address it? Seriously wishy-washy. Thankfully, Emery, played by Robin De Jesus, arrives, and his performance provides the brightest spot in this story. His character is also treated the worst. Michael Benjamin Washington also provides great support, as well as Tuck Watkins, who clearly understands he's now acting in a film as opposed to the stage. He modulated his performance. To their credit or detriment, performance-wise, all of these actors were in the 50th anniversary Broadway revival. An all-queer cast, and most brought their stage performances to the screen, particularly Parsons and Quinto, who are stagey as fuck. Their performances feel in tune. There's one particular scene where Jim Parsons is pretending to wrap a present because he just fiddles with it. It's like either wrap the present or don't. He's delivering a very important monologue to Matt Bomer, and we can tell because he keeps looking at the distance and talking softly. He just doesn't feel present in this scene, and I can see Matt Bomer thinking, he finished. Now you speak. He listened to Jim Parsons deliver this monologue for 3 months, and we feel it. The theatrical experience must have been kinder to these performances. I would have wanted to be in the highest balcony seat. The physical distance must have imbued their performances with flesh, blood, and nuance. The cowboy, or hustler, is played by Charlie Carver, and he does fine with not much to do except to be treated badly by the others. Then there's a really disturbing scene where one of the characters punches another in the face twice, but nothing is done. They all just keep partying in the same room together. Then Zachary Quinto's character, Harold, the birthday boy, finally shows up, and my jaw dropped when he opened his mouth. What's that? What are you doing? The absolute worst part of the movie is the last act. Michael, Jim Parsons' character, begins an idiotic telephone game amongst his guests that no one in their right mind would ever play. No one talks about the idiocy of this game when discussing this play. But this telephone game makes zero sense. Who would play this game? And for what reward? There is no reward. So the nasty drunk in the room will give you an imaginary point? The game could not have made sense in 1968 either. I found no redeeming qualities in this film, and the subsequent happy documentary about the making of it, perplexing. How can happiness come from creating this? Putting on the costumes, cashing your check? I just don't see how this was a joy. I'm thankful for the all-queer cast, as the men in the original cast, although all gay, were not openly gay. That's a cool homage on the anniversary to the original actor. But the director, Joe Mantello, is ultimately to blame for the one-note angry lead performance of Jim Parsons. I don't think his character was happy for 1 second in this film. And then the absurd performance by Zachary Quinto. I can't imagine waiting for his lines on stage night after night. The other actors were thinking, get on with it already. I would have had no patience. It's just unnatural. In conclusion, Mark Crowley's original 1968 play was a revolutionary work that kicked the door open for so many of the LGBTQIA plays and films I enjoy today. I am thankful that this film just comes across as nasty. In the final moments, utterly ridiculous, and I hated the lead character afterwards. I wish I could find a redeeming quality in this time capsule. I don't. This movie just made me sad. Hopefully, I've saved you 2 hours of your time. If I have, hit the like button and subscribe, you owe me. As a reward for watching this review, until the end I will recite Dorothy Parker's poem, Resume, which I find more inspiring than the boys in the band. Resume. Razors pain you, rivers are damp. Acids stain you, and drugs cause cramp. Guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful. You might as well live. And on that note, always remember, living well is the best revenge.